Hi guys, this is an introduction to the movie making component of your SilkRoad project. So let's get started. I want to remind you guys to address all four of the themes and all the questions underneath of each theme. I also want to remind everybody that each person in the group is going to need to have a voiceover or spoken word component in their video. So let's get started. The first step is to identify photos that illustrate the points we'll be making under each theme. A map of the Silk Road, pictures of the landscape, and sites along the route would be appropriate for the first theme. You can navigate to a photo in your web browser, and you can hold your finger down on the photo and save it to your camera roll. So once we find an appropriate picture, like these travelers, we can hold our finger down on it, and save this image to our camera roll. The only way that you'll be able to bring pictures into your iMovie project is if you do save them to the camera roll. You can also draw on pictures and annotate maps in a drawing program and save them to your camera roll as well. So if you guys use a whiteboard program, you can annotate on your map and you guys can save this to your camera roll as well. So once the photos are into your camera roll, we can bring them into iMovie. They normally default to about 4 or 5 seconds depending on the last used settings. Let's go to iMovie, and I've already created an iMovie project here, and you see I've got an old photo of something I drew, so we can delete that by holding our finger down on it, giving it a double tap, and hitting delete clip. So if you look closely, there is a little film strip, and then there are 2 boxes, and there's also a musical note. We want to select the 2 boxes, which indicates that we're going to go to all the photos on our iPad. We go to camera roll, and we can bring in the photo that I just drew on. So there it goes right there. You see that it comes in and it automatically zooms and has a little bit of movement. If we want to keep it still, we can touch on the photo, and there are 2 little boxes at the top that are a little hard to see, but one says start, and you can drag to position where you want your photo to start and where you want it to finish. So I want this one to be zoomed in just a little bit more than it was so that we can see all of my annotations. And then you can also go to the end button, which is a little hard to see, but on your iPad you guys should be able to see it pretty well on the top right. And then I'll choose an ending spot. And I want it to be pretty similar, but maybe I'll allow it to zoom in just a little bit. So now we can go back and see that as we play this, my photo slightly zooms in to kind of the Beijing area, and you can get a closer look. You can do this for titles also. So if you want to bring a title into your project, you can also draw one or type one up in a program such as Whiteboard HD and Pages. You can save these as images and then bring them into your project so that you can have kind of like a title screen, or you can move between themes and let people know that now you're going to be speaking about the geography theme or the arts and music. To adjust the position of the photos and the slides that you've brought in, you can hold your finger down on them until they pop like this, and then you'll be able to move it to the front. So now I've got the Silk Road project title page, and I can also move kind of our introduction slide. Let's hold it up, there it goes, and we can move it. You might want to adjust the length of time that a slide plays so that you can talk about it longer, or you can go into more detail about it. If you grab the little yellow handles, you can see that you can adjust the length of this slide. Originally it was 7 seconds, and we can go ahead and make the slide 15 seconds, and you can kind of see at the top the seconds are counted right here. So it also says drag to position and pinch to zoom. So each photo that you have, you're going to want to position it at the start and the beginning. You can have it zoom in, or you can have them be static. And I would suggest switching it up just to keep your audience a little entertained and to keep your presentation interesting. Next, you can add a voiceover. To add a voiceover, you can hit the little microphone button in the bottom right hand corner or the middle of the right hand side, and that microphone button allows us to start seeing our levels and we can hit record. So now I'll record an introduction to the SilkRoad project. I'm going to be talking about 4 different themes. One is geography, trade, art and music, and the 4th one is the religion and belief system of people along the Silk Road. So you can see here, you've got 4 options: cancel, retake, review, or accept. So we can review this and listen back to it. An introduction to the Silk Road project. I'm going to be talking about 4 different themes. That sounds pretty good, except at the end I'm going to want to cut it off a little bit. So let's stop this and accept it. And I can show you guys at the very last bit, I wasn't quite synced up with the slides that we're showing. So I'll cut that bit out. And I also maybe want to make my second slide longer so I give myself more time to be able to name all 4 of the themes. So I'm going to go here and drag this one to maybe 7 seconds or 8 seconds instead of only being 4 seconds. And that might give me a little bit more time to speak on the introduction and the themes. These are the basic elements that you guys are going to put together. After you've added, let's say, your first voiceover, you can move the project marker, right, the little red line, to a different clip, and you'll be able to start speaking and recording a new voiceover. So if we record a new one, I can speak a little bit about this map, hit record. Some travelers. If you want to add more voiceover, you can do that as well and layer your voiceovers. So you'll see now that I'm layering my voiceover so that I can have multiple sounds. I may want to add music or another element to the end of this little clip. And you can see how they stack on top of each other. So if you would like to add a little bit of music, especially if it's traditional music from the regions that we're looking at, that would be a great boon to adding some multimedia to your project as well. Also, I want to remind you guys that you're not going to be able to bring in YouTube clips or any other video clips into your iPad project. It's just not possible. So keep that in mind when you are looking for elements. If there's something in a video that you want, you can take screenshots of it. You can play it on your iPad, take screenshots, and then add those still photos into your project. But regardless, you're always going to be working with still photos as well as audio using the voiceover app or the voiceover function. Last but not least, when we are ready to hand in our movies are created, we've got our voiceovers and we've added all the slides that we need to add, we're going to post this to YouTube. So we're going to go back out to the main page in iMovie, and let's name our project something that's going to be indicative of who's in the group. So make sure that you put everyone's name on it, as well as if you guys have a group name or specific title or file name to differentiate it from other people that are going to be handing in this exact same project. So we can call mine, Offie Clark, H block. Right, so your block name, full names, all those things are going to help differentiate your project. Hit done. We're going to go hit the little arrow jumping out of the box, that's share, and we're going to share this to YouTube. So when it asks us to sign into YouTube, we're going to use the username bransonroots@gmail.com, and we're going to use the password class of 2016. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to shoot me an email at offie_clark@branson.org or stop by my office.